All right, welcome to Tulsiology. My name is Dave. Thanks for tuning in. Tulsi supporters and Trump supporters have similarities. And, I could go into this is why the media hated Tulsi Gabbard. This is why most neoliberal networks like TYT, they hate Tulsi Gabbard. One of the things that my friend Pasta said to me in the last video I did, which is that we need to be able to talk to each other even though we don't agree on everything. And the media is preventing that. Now, again, I would like a better political party than the two that we have. I would like a party that represents the working class, a party that I think understands that capitalism, to me, it's still what works, but you also need a recognition that there are things that we can do to prevent the economy from being one big lopsided party for the 1%, which just gets richer and richer during all of these lockdowns. And this is why I think there's an ulterior motive to the lockdowns, because who's raking in the dough? Well, of course, the wealthy. They're raking it in even more. The working class are getting screwed. Even when it comes to stimulus and so forth, the working class are being left behind. So I turn on certain channels, and most of them are on the right. I'm going to be honest with you. Tim Pool is kind of in the middle, but he is middle right, I would say, these days. I think his politics are more middle left, but his commentary comes from a more middle right perspective, because right now he's just looking at the truth and saying the truth is taking me here. A guy like Joe Rogan too, who just talks and people get irritated because he says things that are true by making observations. That's what's called journalism, by the way. You see something and you tell someone what you just witnessed. That's journalism. That's all there is to it. By the way, I know that people get journalism degrees and so forth. I'll tell you what, if you're out there and you're at the right place at the right time, and you got yourself a pen and a paper, or you got your cell phone or whatever, and you want to record or report something, you have every right as a citizen to do that. Now, let's get back to the similarities. Now, there's this big story about Joe Biden's son right now. It's a big story. And the media just refuses. Even Fox News people are starting to say, it's an alleged thing that's already been debunked. And so the FBI had this. So this hard drive just mysteriously showed up at some computer repair shop. Man, you must be doing a lot of drugs if you're the vice president's son and you're going to bring your hard drive to a computer repair shop. And you know what's on it. Think about that. And believe me, if you think this guy, Hunter, is too stupid to do such a thing, yeah, he's not too stupid. So this, to me, is a slow motion replay of 2016, but far worse. Hillary, we did question her health and so forth. I'm sorry, Joe Biden is in worse shape than Hillary Clinton. Joe Biden on several occasions now has said that he's running for the United States Senate. He doesn't know which town he's in. He goes to events where a handful of people show up. Tulsi Gabbard, if she were the nominee, she would be getting thousands of people, working class people, disaffected people, people who voted for Republicans and Democrats in the past, people who would have been brought together by this common goal of moving the ball down the field rather than having the tribal nonsense where one administration goes 40 yards, the next administration picks it up, they go 40 yards in the opposite direction. The country has nothing to show for it, very little to show for it. But I will say this, Donald Trump, and this might be the same fate as Tulsi Gabbard if she became the president, because she would be kind of an outsider, even though she worked inside our government. She knows how, how they make the sausage and so forth. She knows how that works. And it hasn't deterred her. It hasn't made her an insider in the sense that, yeah, I'll just go along. The ultimate insider is Kamala Harris. She just plays the game and she gets promoted. See how it works? No percentage points in the primary, no delegates, and she's on the ticket and will be more or less de facto president. If, God forbid, and I do mean this, God forbid if Biden wins, don't let TYT or Kyle Kalinske or any of these stupid neo-progressive channels, and I'm sorry, Kyle, you're a real sharp guy and you could debate the hell out of me and probably whoop my ass. But if you're sitting here, a few months ago, oh, no way, no way, no way, and now, hey, here's 100 great reasons to vote for Joe Biden. Really? No. Any little cultural thing that your pet peeve issue that you think is important, it's going to be destroyed by the fact that the bureaucratic military class, whatever you want to call it, is just going to grab Joe by the nose and pull him around and say, this is what you're going to do. And he's going to nod like a puppy. Okay. All right. Sure. So again, for those of you who think, Trump is a Neanderthal, Trump's a bully, Trump isn't all that bright, for a guy who isn't all that bright politically speaking, in the sense that, I don't think he knows history all that well. I'm pretty sure. I think he knows the basics, the very basics, but he's tried to run the presidency like a ruthless businessman, just like his whole career. All right. By the way, Trump is a lot more fun to watch. And I know that doesn't help us, but Trump is entertaining. Biden is basically a sack of wet noodles, and there's nothing going on there. Same with Kamala Harris. Mike Pence too. Trump's the only one that has any charisma and who's interesting to watch. And, I hear these ads on the radio about all these women who are just so distraught that Donald Trump is the president. It's like Jake Tapper going on about his daughter or something, watching the debate and crying her eyes out and so forth. I'm like, seriously? This is how we're going to persuade, soccer moms, whatever you'd like to call them, suburban moms. We're going to persuade them. They don't want safety in their neighborhood, obviously, right? They don't want security in their neighborhood. So, that's where I think Trump wins, if you can get past all of the baloney and the gaslighting. But this Hunter, let me get back to this Hunter thing and how it ties into a lot of the stuff that happened to Tulsi Gabbard. Because information, if you say it and nobody, it's kind of like if a tree falls in the forest kind of a thing. If you have the hard drive, if you have the facts, if you can, as they say now on Twitter, do you have receipts? Yeah, we got tons of receipts. And obviously, if you're going to trust some fact-checking organization, which is bought and paid for by big tech, this Poynter Institute, Bill and Melinda Gates, Google, Clinton Foundation, those are three funders. And what do these fact checkers do? They go around and they debunk Trump, just like the way they used to debunk Tulsi Gabbard. And even worse is they have people who are getting paid probably by the CIA, might be by the FBI, because the FBI gets all of this bombshell information and they sit on it. And then when they're grilled about what Hillary Clinton did, they say, well, we don't think it really rose to the level of any kind of indictment or prosecution. Okay, are you the judge and the jury? I thought you were just the investigators. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, it isn't the Federal Bureau of Prosecution, because we have these other branches of government. Look, the FBI and the CIA are corrupt organizations. And that's why people like Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, Those people are public enemies number 1 and 2. Those are whistleblowers. Tulsi Gabbard wants to protect whistleblowers. Can't have that in our government. Donald Trump in 2016 kind of sounded like he liked WikiLeaks and all that. I'm sure he got some advice from Jared Kushner. No, you can't say that anymore. You have to keep these people at bay because, as Chuck Schumer said, there are 9 ways to Sunday in which these agencies can get back at you. That's a big time threat, and it's kind of like when Nancy Pelosi talks about how to use a smear. She does a press conference where she tells you about how to use a smear, and then she goes, "It's a tactic." Meanwhile, the tactic that Nancy Pelosi is using is causing many Americans to not have food, not have shelter, not have a place to live in the future. They have no hope because the government locked everybody down, even though the WHO, look, you don't have to agree with me on this, but and again, this is part of the gaslighting. WHO says the lockdowns aren't doing any good. You're making matters worse. Same thing with wearing the face diaper. It's not, because there are plenty of countries where there's like 99% compliance because the populations are so scared, and it's the Al Gore hockey stick cases. By the way, these are cases. These aren't hospitalizations. These aren't fatalities. They're cases. So just getting back to the whole thing about Tulsi and Trump is, if you're a Tulsi supporter, you have my support if you want to go and vote for Trump, because quite honestly, Trump would be more transition oriented to where we're going to go next. If you go back to the Biden, Obama, Bush, Clinton, Bush era, that brings the country backward like you've never seen before. Trump, he's definitely got the populist stuff right. And I think what we need now is more of a combination of both left and right populism, where we put down our guns when it comes to cultural issues. We stop the censorship. We stop the cancel culture. We stop the shaming. We stop just assuming the worst in every human being. And that's Tulsi Gabbard. That's the big thing right there. Tulsi Gabbard represents that. And that's why anybody who caught a little glimpse of her on the campaign trail or read a couple of her tweets, look, this is why Trump and her have the same problem. Neither one of them like ballot harvesting, okay? I think secretly Trump is for whistleblowers. He's for free speech. Tulsi goes further in that she wants whistleblowers protected. All right. And I think Trump does too, but he's been advised not to do it. And unfortunately, he's taken the bait. Economic security at home and bringing the troops home. Tulsi's very serious about it. Trump is somewhat serious about it. So again, if you had Joe Biden, you're going to go in that other direction, warp speed. Ballot harvesting. Ballot harvesting is a bad thing. Trump's been yelling about it. Tulsi introduced legislation, and by the way, stood up to people like Ilhan Omar and Cenk. Well, she didn't address Cenk, but I'm sure she wants to. I think she tries to keep the lines of communication open and some goodwill there, but really everybody seems to be out to get her. If you did a Trump-Tulsi ticket, imagine if they kicked Pence off and brought Tulsi in as the Veep. Said, I want Tulsi Gabbard to be the Veep. She would serve. And Trump, talking about being a wise man at that point, he'd be handing over the country to a woman who is very capable of uniting the country. That's something that Donald Trump isn't capable of doing. But even with that said, I'm thinking a vote for Trump saves us from Biden. Jorgensen, don't know who Joe Jorgensen's going to take votes from. Probably both parties. But I would say she'll probably take more votes from disaffected sort of never Trumpers and people who want an alternative candidate who's actually on the ballot in all 50 states. Now, I looked at my ballot because they sent me a sample ballot. There's a Reform Party candidate. There's a Socialist Party candidate. There is a Constitution Party candidate. And there's a couple of others. So it's surprising the ballot access that some of these candidates actually get, which shows me if we really started a movement. See, somebody can sneak on the ballot who doesn't have a chance, who's just doing it for like, hey, I ran for president in the year 2020. And people will go, really? You're on the ballot? And you can take a picture of the ballot and keep it for your collection of things that you have at home. Look, there's my name. Put it up in a frame or something. But I'll tell you what, once this election is over, and this is sad that we have to even start talking about it, we have to start working for something in 2024. And it's ballot access. It's a movement that elects people at the local level. Part of me says you could invade these two parties. Another part of me says that the brands are so tarnished that you need something new. Over in Great Britain, they have a party that's starting called the Heritage Party. I kind of like the name, although I will say this, that people in the United States will, consider heritage like conservative, or they'll consider it, oh, it's a bunch of white guys and so forth. And so you lose. So you have to find something that brings people together. The Workers' Party, the blue collar party. Even if you're a white collar person, I would say come and join the blue collar party. We care about blue collar workers, and we and those are the people that build and make this country great, truly great. People like my friend Charles Anderson, people like my friend Reed Coverdale. They make this country great because they do things that a lot of Americans choose not to do. They work very hard each day. And so those are the people we should be honoring the most, not some Wall Street tycoons. And again, as much as I like libertarianism, I am a little put off by, hey, you can't censor or you can censor because you're big tech and you're a private company. You know what? It was set up for, and the initial premise, kind of like the student loan program, it was set up, people were like, hey, it's YouTube. It's about me. So I can upload videos and this is fun and it's entertaining. And it's not even just about earning money. It's about, hey, I'm talking here. Hey, I'm trying to say something here. And stuff is just magically disappearing because it's offensive to neoliberals and to big tech companies. And certainly if it goes against the Biden campaign, that seems to be the trigger. Just like, again, if Tulsi Gabbard was the most searched person after a debate, no, you have to shut that narrative down quickly. Yeah, people do want something different. If you allow them to see it using the media that they're comfortable with, I mean, not all of us can go over to like a platform like BitChute or Band.video or something to watch a video. It's just, we're all like, okay, we got our platforms. You got people used to these platforms the last 10 years or so. And, older folks, they're comfortable with it. As soon as you pull the plug out of the wall, they go, okay, I used to hear all about this stuff. And now I guess it's not a thing anymore. So Tulsi supporters and Trump supporters have a lot in common. They don't agree on all the issues, obviously, but they both feel like they're constantly under attack by the media because they are. They are, absolutely. And Trump's own party doesn't like him for the most part. And Tulsi's party really dislikes her. So Tulsi's probably on Trump on steroids in a way, because Trump has tried to placate from a policy perspective, and I think that's a mistake. Tulsi did a little bit of that when she, endorsed Biden, but she hasn't been out there cheerleading for Joe Biden, which, thank you, Tulsi. Thank you for just being quiet. Thank you. It's awesome. So in any event, that's my video. You may disagree. I'm still up in the air. I'm probably going to early vote this week. I'm still up in the air. I mean, Jo Jorgensen can't win the presidency, but if you vote for her, it does kind of show the rest of the country that, wow, libertarians got like 10% or some. I mean, it would be amazing if libertarians got 10%. But even if they got 5%, that builds a movement for 2024. And who knows, maybe Tulsi Gabbard just walks right into that and wins the presidency, because at that point, people are going to be so tired of this two-party BS. Okay, I am done. Thanks for watching. Aloha. Take care of yourself. If you're here in Florida today, stay out of the rain. See you soon.